everybody. It's Lisa, your podcast sister, coming to you from Cleveland, Ohio. And if you like to discover new music, then you've come to the right place. On today's show, I'll be interviewing the talented Jet Jurgensmeyer, and you are in for a treat. So, without further ado, I want to welcome my guest, Jet Jurgensmeyer.
Howdy, howdy. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining me today, Jet.
This will be a lot of fun.
It is. And your life is full of fun. I mean, I looked at I looked at your resume to prepare for this interview, and there's two sides to the story. One side is your acting, and we're going to talk about that briefly before we talk about your music. You have been in the industry since I think 3 years old. You've been in major movies, you've been in sitcoms, you've done voiceovers, and I mean, the list goes on. How did you get involved in acting?
So when I grew up here in Nashville, my parents owned a restaurant that's still here in Nashville. It's called the Nashville Palace. It's right across from Opryland. And I started getting on stage singing and kind of entertaining the crowd when I was 3. And some of our really, really close family friends, the Mandrell sisters, Barbara, Louise, Erlene, it was their mother that said to my parents, y'all should try acting with Jet and see what happens. And so I started acting here in Nashville when I was 4, and then we started going to California when I was 5. And from then on, it was just kind of a never-ending snowball effect of working and project after project. And now here we are, and I'm 20. So I've been doing it for about 16 years now.
That is amazing. There are some people that work a lifetime to accomplish just one thing that you've done in 20 years. Congratulations. You are very, very blessed. And by the way, I remember watching the Mandrell sisters growing up and
There you go.
a big fan. And that's quite a way to grow up. But you have a hard work ethic and you are on the ball because you just don't land these jobs just by who you know. I mean, you've got to deliver. And did you ever have acting lessons or anything like that?
So I never had acting lessons. I've had vocal lessons, things like that, for singing, but I've never had acting lessons. I've always found that whether it was acting or music or performing on stage, even, I've always felt like I've learned more from actually doing it. Being on stage, kind of busting your chops, like playing dive bars for 4 people for 3 hours, or playing for absolutely nobody but your parents for 3 hours. Like that happens sometimes. And so I've always just felt like I've learned more from being on the job experience, if that makes sense. Um, but there's also I think that it's better to be lucky than good. And I've been very fortunate and very blessed and very lucky to have been around some of the most talented musicians and actors and directors and producers and songwriters in the world. And so I've learned so much from just watching them, not even having to ask questions, but just going into every room thinking that knowing I'm not the smartest one in that field, in that room. So I might as well just shut up and try to listen and learn something. And that's what I've done pretty much my whole life. And that's, I think, what helped me the most was learning little small tips of the trade just by simply paying attention.
Yeah, when you were on the sitcom Last Man Standing, Tim Allen, um, I'm sure taught you a lot about, you know, being on a television series, and you were
Oh
also in,
my.
yeah. I mean, what was that like?
Shocking, firstly, because Tim was amazing. Like, he was such a kind person. He was super loud, which I got along with because I'm a very loud person, but he was never angry at other people. If he got mad, he'd get mad at himself for messing up a line or messing up a take or something like that. But he was never angry at somebody. And that's something that I really appreciated, because if there's something that's already happened or something that's out of your control, there's no point in yelling over it. Just get over it and figure out how you can keep working through it and work around it. So I learned a lot about him as far as respecting other people around you. There's a lot of people that work a lot harder than us actors on a set, whether it's set deck, whether it's the camera crew, the sound guys. Have it something simple as having to make sure that our pack batteries are always changed and fresh. Because what happens if we get into the third take and we're three-fourths of the way through that take? It's perfect. It's going to be the one the director's like, all right, this is going to be it, and my mic pack cuts out. What happens then? It's not my fault because the take was right, but it's his. So there's people that work way, way harder than us to make that whole circus run smoothly. So I learned a lot from Tim in that aspect, and someone like Christoph Sanders, who played Kyle on Last Man Standing, uh, he's nothing like his character, and I think that shows how talented of an actor he is. You know, Kyle is this goofy kind of stupid guy, I guess is how you could put it. Dim-witted, just kind of brunt of all the jokes guy. And Christoph's smart. He is an actual outdoors guy. He's an Eagle Scout, so we got along because I love being outside and doing that kind of stuff. He drove a Harley to work all the time. Like we got along. He's nothing like Kyle. But then over the seasons that I was there, he was working on being a writer and producer and director of the show. So I kind of got to watch him not only flip into Kyle mode, but then also be thinking about it from a writer's standpoint. So I learned a lot from that show, and I try to, like I said earlier, do that in every project I work on, whether it's music or acting.
Yeah. And before we talk about your music career, which, by the way, I think I researched you've done like written 30 songs and released them and performed on stage and, put together videos that are phenomenal. But before we
Thank you.
talk about that, I want to just ask you, do you have any advice for any young actors trying to get in the business? And you obviously have learned a lot from some great people in the industry. What advice do you have?
Firstly, I think it's important, especially for people that are like teenagers that are wanting to be actors or musicians. Stay true to who you are. Don't let other people tell you what kind of artist you need to be or what kind of actor you need to be or anything like that. Uh, I was fortunate that I learned that early on. I heard a lot of people talk about that. A lot of people talking about lessons learned of having people kind of push them around and tell them what to do with their career. But at the end of the day, you're the one that has to do it and be happy. And also be willing to hear the word no, and to fail, because there, you mentioned like 30 songs that I didn't even know that I've written and put out. Those are just the ones that I've written that I put out. I've probably written close to 300, if not more songs. I mean, maybe close to 500 songs, and to only have 30 that are worth putting out, that means that probably three-fourths of those songs that I have written are never going to see the light of day because they're terrible. And so you have to be willing to fail. You have to be willing to not get roles that you really work hard for and want, and just be told, no, you weren't right for this, because it's those lows that make the highs when you finally get that first yes feel so good.
What a great piece of advice, and it comes from the heart and it comes from experience. Every word you just said, and I like the example you gave about the songs that the many that you've written and haven't made the cut. What a great example. And thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we're going to switch into the gear of singing. And I want to just dive right in and play snippet number one,
Alrighty.
your new song, Midwest Sunset. And when we
All
come
right.
back, let's talk about it and talk more music.
When I think of you, my mind's running wild. To a tailgate view, the sky is lighting up your smile. Show you what I mean. Lay back in the bed, let you shine on me like a Midwest sunset. Hold you till the stars start shining, world falls away and I'm in heaven every time that I'm with you. When it comes to love, It all comes down to us. Couple of hearts on fire. Honey, it's because when I think of you, my mind's running wild. To a tailgate view, the sky is lighting up your smile. Show you what I mean. Lay back in the bed. Let you shine on me like a Midwest sunset.
I love that song, Jet.
Thank you. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
the lyrics really paints the picture of, that special feeling you get when you're together with the person you love. And, I'm digging that acoustic guitar.
Thank you. Thank you. This was a very, very special and personal song. I wrote it with one of my best friends, Erica Latza, and that's me playing the guitar on the recording. That was something that was really important to me about these acoustic songs I'm working on. Midwest Sunset, the previous one, Found You, the one that we have coming out, and then the entire acoustic EP that we're working on that all these songs are a part of. It was very important to me that I kept this as broke down and as live as if you're sitting in the room with me as possible. As if I'm just at a writer's round or I'm playing the Bluebird and y'all are sitting right there with me and I'm playing them. So that was really important to me with Midwest Sunset, and especially trying to encapsulate that in the recording. But in order to do that, you have to have the lyrics that tell the story. So it was really important to me. I wrote this with Erica because I knew that she and I, just being as close as we are, could really get that idea that I had originally had of the title on paper.
Well done. It's
Thank
a
you.
fantastic song. And we're going to play 2 other song snippets throughout the show, but I wanted to just ask you, and I was just curious, who are some of your favorite artists?
Oh, this question is so difficult because it's always changing. Like I think that the best thing you can do as a songwriter, as a creative person, is constantly be learning. So the worst thing you can say is, this is how I've always written songs. This is how I've always recorded my songs. This is how my songs have always sounded. Well, that gets redundant and people get tired of that. So find out what else can inspire you to challenge yourself. So I'm always listening to new music. Like I use Spotify. I'm sure the Apple users out there are going to get mad. I use Spotify. But Spotify has a thing, the day list, where that day of the week, it like puts together a playlist of what you typically listen to on this specific day. So that's a way I listen to a lot of new artists that I don't normally hear. But I kind of go by eras and genres. So I'm a huge like Beatles fan. I love listening to the Beatles. Frank Sinatra was one of my top 5 most streamed artists last year. I love Cody Johnson, Loretta Lynn, Patsy Cline, Dolly, Miranda, Lainey Wilson. Nowadays, she's awesome. Morgan Wallen, Zach Bryan, Luke Combs, Red Hot Chili Peppers are my favorite band. I love Foo Fighters. Their older stuff, like from the Everlong era. And I mean, just constantly listening to some pop artists like Ed Sheeran, Taylor Swift, one of my friends, Sabrina Carpenter, listening to those people so I can constantly be inspired. And I love country music. That's what I was raised on. I believe that that's what I'm meant to put out as an artist. But then I listen to Brandon Lake, and I get inspired to write a bunch of worship songs. And I listen to some like Warren Ziders from his 717 Tapes album, and that's all acoustic. That's where this acoustic EP I'm working on inspiration came from. And I want to write some stuff like that, some Cody Johnson's version of Red Dirt Road with Brooks and Dunn, that kind of stuff. So listening to as much music as humanly possible when I'm in the gym, in the car, when I'm studying, to constantly keep learning and keep up to date with my craft, I think is super important. So picking like one artist is too hard. So I try to go by like time frames and different genres.
Well, that's smart because, well, all the stars that you've listed and artists, they do have their own way of doing things, and um, it gives you, a wide range of things to, you know, key in on. And, you know, you are amazing. Again, 20 years old, and
Thank you.
you just have such a way of expressing in a humble way the things that you have learned, and are accomplishing step by step. And I wanted to ask you about, you know, your social media. Follow you, and on a
Okay.
lighter note, there's one favorite post that I have to ask you about. It is the post you were at your family's Christmas party, and
Okay.
and it just cracked me up. The whole family looks like they're there, and you know, I think there was even a picture of it looked like your family, and some family members had antlers on their ear, you know, on their
Yes.
head, and it looked like you were playing a volleyball game. And then at one point, you and maybe your cousin or somebody, you guys break into this like wrestling match, and your mom's in the background saying, "Stop it!" And you know, it was like, I want to be at that party.
I know what post you're talking about now. Yeah, that was my cousin. That was my cousin Corey. He's actually about to be a dad in June,
Oh,
having a little girl. So I'm really excited for them. Corey, Corey and I train jujitsu. I love jujitsu. I love martial arts. So I train jujitsu. And Corey is a gym rat and lifts a bunch of weight and will always be stronger than me. So he thought that he could pick me up and get me on the ground and all that stuff. So we just in my grandparents' basement, in their rather nice house, we decided to wrestle. It was not a smart decision because it could have gone very poorly, and it has in the past. That was the first time we've just got it on recording. And my mom knew that, so you can kind of hear her in the background nip me in the butt a little bit. She's like, "Stop." But that was a fun time. We play volleyball over Christmas. Over basically anytime I'm back home in Missouri and getting to see my family, we're playing basketball or volleyball or going to the gym, and I'm riding horses and working on the farm and getting to spend time with my family. I don't get to see nearly enough.
Yeah, I just loved it because it really just shows a glimpse of a different side of you. And
Absolutely.
yeah, and I love too, Jet, how you have posts where it's just you and your guitar, and you're in that quiet place, and you're singing, and it's like you're singing to the person watching. And you know, it's been said by many musicians, the guitar is like an old friend. And when I watch those posts, it does feel like the guitar is an old friend when I'm watching. I mean, what goes through your mind?
Well, I'm glad you say that because that's where this acoustic EP is derived from, is from the times that I grew up just me and my guitar on a stage in a corner of some bar that never had live music before, but they hired this 13-year-old to come and play cover songs for a couple hours. So being able to now take that feeling of being in that dive bar and kind of distribute it out there to the world through social media, through songs that I've written, it's kind of a good way for me to see if people might like a song that I'm thinking about recording. Uh, and then to record just solely acoustic songs. It's really, really fun. I love it because that's where my inspiration originally came from being on stage by myself with it just starting with me and a guitar. And so I like being able to take songs, especially like acoustic versions of songs that I've put out, like full production, like Roots or Good Days or something like that, to give people a glimpse of the songwriter kind of version of the song, because it always turns out a little bit different once you get in the studio with a full band and session players. So to be able to give people a glimpse of almost a different version of the song is always really fun.
Great. Well, I want to go ahead and play snippet number 2,
Okay.
your song "All I Need" from your album The Ride Phase 2. So I'm going to go ahead and play "All I Need" by Jet Jurgensmeyer. Let's see.
I can find you anywhere. Just name the place and I'll be there. My love, you outshine the sun. It's something that I've always known. All I need is a little bit of love, a little love to make me
I love that song, Jet, and your voice sounds fantastic. And I got to tell you, I love the piano throughout that song.
So you remember earlier when I said that I listened to a bunch of different songs and a bunch of different genres and things like that. So that production wise was inspired by Billy Joel, Vienna. So a classic Billy Joel song. Um, if somebody is listening to this and doesn't know that song, pause, go listen to that song, then come back and it'll make sense. So I got in the session, I got in the studio with the players and Rojas, the keys player. I said to him, we played a demo, and I was like, "Hey, I really want this to feel as if Billy Joel were playing it, singing Vienna." And he went, "That's new for you." And I was like, "I know. I want to. It. I might be stupid. It might sound crazy, but let's just hear what it sounds like." And he did it, and it felt awesome, and it was so right, and the song turned out beautifully. And I don't usually say beautiful about like my songs, because I primarily put out country and country rock sort of songs. So to have a song that's more of like that beautiful aspect, it was really, really neat to do, and really special to do as a songwriter and an artist. And I love that song, getting to write it with Benjamin and Vincent. They brought that idea to me, and I fell in love with it. So I'm really, really happy with how it turned out.
Yeah, I think the risk definitely paid off, and you are not afraid of anything, that's for sure. Um, Speaking of which, I want to totally change gears and talk about you're a full-time student at Belmont University.
Yes, ma'am. I'm in my dorm right now.
Yeah, I mean, how do you fit all this in 24 hours? I mean, how do you do it?
It's a busy day. You schedule out your days to work. I'm pretty fortunate where I made my school schedule to kind of adhere to my work schedule, which is kind of usually backwards for college. It's usually the other way around. But I'm a legal studies major with a minor in music business, so I'm studying law as an undergrad right now, and it keeps me busy for sure. But I think the thing that helps me excel at it is the fact that I've always been used to doing school and work at the same time. Because we talked earlier about the start of my career. I started when I was 3, 4 years old for acting and music. So that was before I was even in school. And so I've always been used to doing school and managing school around when I was on set, when I was off set, when I'm on the road, when I'm not. So college isn't really different in that regard. The only thing that's different is now I'm living on my own, and I have to manage my schedule and make sure that I'm the one that's preparing and keeping myself up to date on my assignments and my tests and studying and things like that, and making sure I get everything turned in, because late credit will hurt you. So I always make sure that I'm busy, because I'm almost used to being busier. I'm used to being busy than I am not being busy. So I feel anxious when I don't have something to do. So if I'm not doing an interview or writing, I'm doing school, or I'm going to the gym and then I have an interview or something like that. And that's kind of how all my days go. And that's kind of how it's been my whole life. So it's not really that big of a change for me.
Well, that's fantastic. It really
Thank you.
is. You're self-motivated, and, are you in a fraternity or anything like that on campus?
I am. So I started a chapter of Pi Kappa Phi at Belmont. So I was the fourth person to sign of the original five founding fathers of Pi Kappa Phi's Lambda Alpha chapter here at Belmont. I'm the chaplain for the fraternity. I love it. It's super fun. I really like our group of guys that we got. We just had our first ever full on rush. So we got a new guy, and he's going through education and rituals and stuff like that. And I get to kind of be his helping hand through that as the chaplain, which I think it's the perfect position for me in the fraternity. I love it. I have a girlfriend. We've been together for a little over a year now. We started dating freshman year, and love her to death. She's awesome. She's all over my wall. And between PyCap, between her and school, I stay busy. They all keep me out of trouble. They're all there for me at the drop of a hat if I ever need them. And I think that's the most important thing when it comes to college, because when you're in college, you might as well utilize the networking that you have here. So setting up relationships to have for the rest of your life. Some of my fraternity brothers are going to be finance majors, theater majors. My girlfriend's a graphic design majors, and I don't know where they'll be in 30 years career wise. and I might need a call and be like, hey, I need my finances looked at or something, or my accountant just told me this. Can you tell me this, just as a friend, brother to brother? And so that's I think super helpful in utilizing that networking while you're here.
A true leader, honestly, and it's nice to hear that you are a chaplain, and I know that faith is very, very important to you,
Yes,
and you're
ma'am.
commended for that. And by the way, your girlfriend is very lucky to have you.
I, I've been told that. I hear people say that, but I think I'm the lucky one. I'm kind of hard to manage and like keep up with. So she stuck around this long.
I love it. Well, I'm going to get ready to close out the show, but I want to first talk about this snippet number 3 that I'm going to play, and it's Good Days. And I love the official video for this song. You know, it's the
Thank you.
whole band, and I don't know, it has that college feel to me for some reason. I don't know.
That was kind of the idea,
Yeah, I
is
think it
to
was
have that
perfect.
kind of college aspect.
Yeah, who's in the video with you?
So my guitar player, Jack Masseri, is playing in the video. He's still on the road with me. My old drummer, who's one of my best friends, Justin, he's playing the drums. And then one of my fellow Belmont students and friends, Jacob, he's playing the bass, sitting over there chilling in the corner.
I love it. You really nailed that. And we're going to go
Thank you.
ahead and close out the show. But I want you to say, tell us how we can, listen to your music and follow you on
Of
social
course.
media.
So everything's under my name, Jet Jurgensmeyer. It's Jet with one T, like a plane. Super fun way to remember it. There's not a whole lot of Jet Jurgensmeyers around, so if you type a J for Jurgensmeyer after Jet, I'm typically the only one that comes up. And all of my music, my social media, my website, everything is under that. Not official or music or anything like that. It's super simple, just my name. Be sure to go send me a message and say what you thought of the music.
Okay, great. I encourage everyone to download Jet Jurgensmeyer songs, add it to your collection. Jet, thank you so much for coming on Podcast Sista. And I'm going to play snippet number 3, your song, Good Days. And as I always say, that's a wrap.
I'm here every time, same thing, but I don't mind. Put me through hell, but I'm always crawling back to the light. Heartbreak to you ain't the same. Something about you and the pain gives me a high, and makes me look back to all the ways I got lost in the good days. Your ego's pulling me in, at it again, like a drug stealing my blood, but it never ends. Like we're stuck in a frame, perfect through pain, always the same, but with some medicine, oh, we can make it work. I'm here every time, same thing, but I don't mind. Put me through hell, but I'm always crawling back to the light. Heartbreak to you ain't the same. Something about you and the pain gives me a high, and makes me look back to all the ways I got lost in the good days. Was it broken from the start? Was it written in the stars? Were we made for broken hearts before you tore me apart? I'm here